Hey guys, welcome back to tonight's Tactical Tuesday live stream. Apologize, you're going to hear I'm sniffling. I got the I'm sick as a dog, but show must go on, right? So, anyways, this is the part where I ask you guys if you can hear me okay, right? Because I don't really have a studio. This is my office. We're doing this off of basically a desktop computer. Right, we just wrapped up basically 4 days, 3.5 days of filming brand new tactical rifleman videos with our film crew that came in from New York City. Got my son here and everything helping out. And weather did not cooperate. That's okay. It's okay. But we brought in some big hitters. We brought Big Al in to do a couple videos. Emory came in, do a couple videos. Randy came in, do a video. Byron Russell, he was the assaulter team sergeant when I was the sniper team sergeant. So my snipers would work to support his assault force a lot. So me and Byron, we've known each other since before the towers fell. And our careers have just stayed together. We stayed in the same unit. It's awesome. But he filmed 2 videos about drones, tactical drone operations, but also defending against tactical drones. So yeah, great videos, good time. I leave like before sunup tomorrow morning because I've got a 4-day class that starts tomorrow. And it's down in Memphis, or out across the Mississippi in at Tier 1 group in West Memphis, actually, but we call it Memphis. So anyways, it's a private course. Sorry, it's not like I can invite you guys to come visit or nothing. I can't do that. So anyways, I am sick the entire time that we're filming, but now I was hoping it was a 48, 72 hour bug. By the way, it's not. I'm hoping, my son said it took him about 10 days to get over it, and I'm like, oh, I don't have 10 days, right? Common cold, a virus, right? 7 to 10 days, you drink enough chicken soup and stuff, you'll be fine in 7 to 10 days. Whatever virus I got, that's what we're dealing with. No big deal. No big deal, right? What is a big deal is we got our sponsor tonight, Venture Surplus. I want to thank them for sponsoring again. You guys know the deal. Their motto is Venture brings the Army surplus store to your door. So like here at Fort Campbell or outside Fort Bragg or Fort Benning, you can go there. And by the way, they tried to change the names on both those bases. But you go there and there's all these Army surplus stores. And if you've never been to one, you should go drive there. Man, that's an Army surplus. And just go wander through and check it out. They've got stuff that you'd normally only see in museums, but it's there that you can buy it. And a lot of it's just junk. A lot of it's stuff that the military used and it's wore out. What I mean by that is you have expendable items, right? Consumables, right? Expendable items, ammo, for example. Ammo is actually a consumable. And then you have durable items, which is basically all your gear. And then you have hard items. Hard items are expected to last we say forever, but even they have an expiration date. When they get replaced by something newer and better, those things go to what's called DRMO. To be auctioned off and then sold to whoever wants them. But your durable items, they have a set expiration date. You're not going to have wool jackets that guys are wearing that are 40, 50 years old that are handed from Joe to Joe to Joe. They can only be worn so many times before they're wore out. A soldier deserves to have new equipment. So what they do is they just give them expiration dates. These things will be turned in on such and such date. Okay, they'll be replaced. The cool part, though, is a lot of this military gear, and there are some units that go out all the time and use those wool jackets. But if you're a typist or you're a satellite imagery analyst, you probably didn't put your wool jacket on your entire time in the military, but it was still assigned to you. So when its shelf life has expired, it goes to DRMO. They throw out all the crappy ones, they keep all the good ones, and they get auctioned off. They go to all these Army surplus stores. Venture Surplus has all that stuff. You don't have to go find a store. You can go online and find what you want. But they also have a lot of stuff that are the expendables that have never been used before. You know, cat tourniquets and quick clot gauze, all that stuff. A lot of brand new good stuff. So anyways, when I heard that they actually wanted to sponsor us for months straight, I'm like, I'm all about it. 100% all about it. Yeah, all about it. Thank you, Susan. She's let me know that my sound is good. Okay, awesome. All right, I had a couple 5x5s here. You guys know the deal. If you've got questions or anything like that, you can just put your questions in the chat room, and my moderators, Susan being one of them, they will get me your questions. If you want to do a super chat, even better. That will get your chat up there for sure. If we start getting tons and tons of questions, more than I have time to do, understand the priority goes to my super chat guys. That's just, you know, if somebody wants to lay down some cash, he has, I will bump them to the top of the list. Okay, no worries on that. I got helpers tonight. I actually have Emory Morgenstern. He's sitting over in the man room right now. He's on the phone with somebody over in Israel. And so he's going to be chair next to me here real quick. But also, I have asked Sue LaRue. You guys, if you don't know who Sue LaRue is, one, you need to take that cell phone, snap it in half, and you need to go outside and beat your head against a tree, because he is one of the most infamous Green Berets out there. And anyways, Sue came to my A-team, I think right before the towers fell, and we were actually doing a live fire stalk at Cassidy Mountain Site on Fort Campbell, ghillie suits, everything, live fire. We drew straws, and he had to be the spotter, and I'm the one that took the live shot. And but that we were there when the towers fell, and then our A-team deployed together, initial invasion of Afghanistan, Africa, and then Iraq, blah, blah, blah. Just crazy stuff going on. Crazy. So Sue's going to call in, let you guys know what's been going on with him. So anyways, I'm excited. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I actually filmed 14 videos. I'm happy. That doesn't mean I'm good to go for 14 weeks. I know you guys expect to get a new video from us every Friday, right? Now, my son puts up lots of shorts, but every Friday we do try to be educational video. And so we just filmed 14 of them, but understand that's just the filming. Then they go to the editor. The editor takes A camera, B camera, takes the sound files, takes all the B-roll footage that was filmed, and the close-up still photos, and the slider close-up video, and all that stuff. Splices it all together. They send me that initial edit number 1, and then I crush it with notes. Insert this picture here. Take this out. Add this. I want the other camera angle here. Can you lighten the lighting up here? Add this text to screen. And then I get an edit 2, edit 3. Sometimes it's 6, 7, 8 edits. Sometimes it's only 2. My son actually listens to all of my corrections, and the other editor, she tries. She tries 70%. But anyways, great stuff. But yeah, so we filmed 14 videos. That does not mean that we are ready to go for 14 more weeks. Not at all. So while I am out teaching this class for the next 4 days, and my son is going to try to get the first couple edits up for first couple of videos. He's got the video for this Friday done. He's got my final corrections for it. Once he makes those corrections, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. And he'll upload it, and then YouTube will demonetize it because it came from us, so of course it's bad. And then we will request a manual review by a human being instead of just a machine. In which case, of all the moderator, of all the reviewers out there that they hire, do you think they hire any decent reviewers, or do you think they go full libtard? Right? That's YouTube. So it probably won't get approved because it is about thermal monoculars and. But you never know, right? Even though it's not against any of their guidelines, we have not violated any of their written rules. They still have the right to not monetize anything that they deem is not worthy of being monetized. So they decide who gets money and who does not get money. And that's why we love you guys, and that's why we love these live streams. We can come hang out with you guys here. And hang out with the fans. But also, I want to give big thanks to fans that are patrons on Patreon, because YouTube really they crushed us bad in 2022. But 2023, they said, what? Crush Carl? Hey, hold my beer. We can do better than that. So it's okay. But my patrons, we appreciate everybody's support. We really do. We really do. Let's see if I've gotten any questions in yet. I have. Come on in, Emory. Guys, I'm going to slide over a little bit so I can bring Emory Morgenstern, International Man of Waffles.
Good evening.
You got to unroll your mic and clip
Good evening.
it. There's a Velcro right there. You got it?
I
All
got
right,
it.
well, he is doing that. We are going to read our first question of the day. This one is from Billy Heaton. Does anyone have experience with MFT being hard to put in magwell? I'm assuming you're talking about a particular brand magazines. I'm not familiar with that magazine. Maybe somebody in the chat room can help you out. Yeah, guys, your magazines, and if you guys don't know what he's talking about, you can actually go back to our video archive and you can pull up a video on how to check your magazine. Actually, they can't. YouTube took that video down, completely blocked it. They
Which one?
pulled it. I did a video on how to check your magazines. Check them to see, make sure they drop out of your gun, right? And because your magazines need to be able to, when it's empty, when you hit the mag release, that mag should drop out of the gun. It should. All right. It should feed all the rounds. It should seat when it's full. All right. But more important than anything else, when you hit the mag release, that mag should drop out of the gun. All right. And just check all your mags while they're empty before you get ready to go to range, or while you're at the range before you load them. Check one, drop it. Check next one, drop it. Check next one. That one's stuck. Clean it, and maybe it'll start working again. All right. Anyways, we had a great video on how to test your magazines, and I talked about all the different magazine problems, including some magazine problems that deal with like 60-round drums and stuff like that. That's where I messed up. On YouTube, I showed a higher capacity magazine. According to YouTube, if it has 30 rounds or more, you are wrong. So, but I mean, I only put 28 rounds in my mags. It doesn't matter to them. If it'll hold 60, you're a violator, Carl. And so we legitimately got a strike against our account. They pulled the video down. It can no longer be loaded up. I'm like, okay, all right. One of these days, we'll be able to figure out home addresses for people like this and where they work, and you understand these moderators, that are out there, these Google people that make these decisions. We're going to figure out their home addresses, right? Guys, I'm joking. I could care less. Take the video down. I'll put another one up the next day. No big deal. No big deal.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so how are you doing, Emory?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Getting ready for the next thing. I'm not sick. I'm sick up here.
Yeah.
But like not here.
We've been riding to dinner, 3 meals a day, breakfast at Cracker Barrel. We go out for lunch with the film crew. We go out to dinner with the film crew. Emory came in. 1 or 2 days before the film crew showed up, he's been helping. He hung all the banners on the shooting range, the tactical rifleman banners and everything. Painted all the steel, made everything look pretty because I was gone, and he did all this stuff. He's helped me get everything ready for the videos. He's been sleeping in the basement basically. And yeah, Emory pulls his weight here. I appreciate it, brother. I do appreciate it. But I don't know how he hasn't got sick yet, because I caught it from my son, who caught it from somebody else on tour or something. I don't know, but
it must be that anger. My anger just kind of burns all the negative stuff.
Maybe that's it. Without further ado, Carl, was it Trail Boss you are using for 300 Blackout subs? No. Excellent question, though. I did mention Trail Boss, and it's the same projectile, but you guys, if you don't know what Trail Boss is, there's one that's up there. You can actually see it, the yellow can.
Oh, I see it.
Right? Trail Boss is a gunpowder used by the cowboy action guys. And the reason why they use it is because it's very, very weak. It's got a lot of volume, but it's made to fill the casings, let the projectile go out at a cowboy action shoot, but not blow up the guns, not a lot of recoil or nothing. So why would I care anything about that? I do not do cowboy action. What I use it for is 7.62 subsonic. So in other words, a 308 casing, same 300 Blackout projectile, but I can't use the same amount of gunpowder in a 300 Blackout in a 7.62 by 51 casing, because I'd have a half full casing. And if that casing, let me grab you a casing real quick. Grab you a casing. All right. This is a 7.62 armor piercing incendiary, but we'll say it is subsonic. All right. That 300 Blackout ammo would only fill it up halfway. All right. Now, the key to accuracy is a consistent burn rate. So if I bang my gun on the table getting down, all that gunpowder is going to sit flat in the bottom half of the cartridge. And when the primer goes off, it's going to flash across the entire top and light all the gunpowder real fast. And that's going to give me a high chamber pressure. But if I'm out hunting and I stomp my foot down, all the gunpowder goes to the bottom half of the casing, right up against the primer. I see that deer, and then I gently lower the gun down to aim, but all that gunpowder is still packed back here. Now when the primer hits it, it lights it back here, it burns at a slower rate, and I'm gonna get a different chamber pressure. So how do we do this? You gotta fill the casing. Two ways to do that. You use a filler. Matter of fact, polymer casings that have an insert, the best way to do it, you could use regular gunpowder then, but the other way is to use a gunpowder that will fill all that volume just to get the amount of energy that you need. And that's the advantage of Trail Boss, is for subsonic 308 rounds, the subsonic charge, if you're using Trail Boss, fills the whole casing. So it doesn't matter which way the gun is pointed and banged, the casing's full of gunpowder. So excellent question, but I would not use it in my subsonics. 300 Blackout, not needed. What do I use? I use 1680 for, I want to say I'm only down to like 3 cans.
I'm a 2230 fan in that realm.
Yeah,
from Accurate.
But 1680 is my go-to. How I make my subsonic is insanely heavier projectile, which to make it the same overall length, it has to sit deeper in the casing, and then but that leaves me less room for gunpowder. All right. Ooh, little medicinal right there. Guys, I can't do coffee tonight. Me and Emory, we got to get up at stupid dark 30. All right, I got
dark 30. I like that.
All right, we've got.
I saw one somewhere. Some question.
She'll send them. This is from Billy Heaton. Carl, have you, or is it possible to thread your own barrel. Yeah, it is. A lot of guys will take guns that weren't threaded for suppressor, and technically you could go down to a place that does auto parts stuff, and you can buy, or go on Amazon and you can buy stuff for doing tap and die, basically adding threads to pipes and rods. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
No.
Because here's the deal. Almost all those barrels, they're not the same length. I mean, width. The whole length. You've got
they
a
have
slight
a taper, they have different shapes.
And if you're off even just a little bit, you're going to hit a baffle inside your
Let me take
suppressor.
that a step further.
Okay.
So a barrel, when you want to thread a barrel, you don't do it with a tap and die. Or a die, really. Obviously not a tap. Taps go on the inside. They do the threading facing
But they
out.
normally come as a set.
And dies, right, taps and dies come together. Dies do the external thread. So the way to thread a barrel is obviously you take the barrel off the gun, and then you have to mount it in your lathe. And then the part that even good machinists often don't do well enough for barrels is actually time it in there. So you're going to turn that thing around, and that thing has to be perfectly situated, perfectly. Beyond that, you have to know how to thread, right? Not thread a barrel, threading in general on a lathe, which is a process that takes some time to learn. But it's so incredibly tight. Like if you screw that threading up just a little bit, that's detrimental to your health.
So here's the deal. So you've got two choices. One, you go find yourself a pro that's got a good reputation. Just because he's your local gunsmith that has a lathe and can cut barrels to lengths and thread them, 99.9% of the threading he's doing is for good old boys so they can put flash hiders and things like that. It's not for suppressors. If you're going to get it, make sure it's a guy that does it right. That's option number one. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, all right? And if it's screwed up, you're out that barrel, all right? And you're not going to know till he's done. The other option, the one I recommend to all of y'all, is if you want a threaded barrel on a firearm, go buy a threaded barrel.
It'll be cheaper.
It will be cheaper. Literally, buy a new barrel that already comes threaded. You understand, even my Ruger 1022 has got a Tactical Solutions threaded barrel on it. That new barrels, they almost always have the option of them being threaded, and they're being threaded by the barrel manufacturer. That's what they do for a living. So that would be.
Think about this a second, right? What is a new? Let's just say, for simplicity, let's say it's an AR barrel, right? $200-$300, right? For a good barrel, right? You can get a Ballistic Advantage barrel for what, $230. That's a good Hansen profile, for example. I wouldn't even turn on a machine for you for $200. Right? Does that make sense? Like, unless it's some silly job that takes a half an hour, but setup is going to take you an hour, right? So, yeah, just buy a barrel. Unless you're really looking to get into it, but then I'd go to someone really, really good specifically at that.
Peanut Arbuckle. Carl, is Jace case a good source for antibiotics? Thanks. I think he's referring to a website. I think I actually went and looked at it once. I have no personal experience with them because I don't buy antibiotics off the internet. My sister-in-law does that. She has them brought in by from Canada and China and everything, but
I thought we get them at the Walmart parking lot.
Me personally, I go to local pharmacy. All you got to do is you got to get a doctor, a friend of the family, to write you a prescription. Tell them the truth. Just exaggerate a little bit. Small white lie. Hey, I'm getting ready to go on a safari in the Serengeti in Africa. All right. This is what they're currently having problems with. I would like these 3 antibiotics, and I'm going to bring them with me. I promise you, Doc, I will not take them without calling you first and giving you signs and symptoms. But I don't want to go to a pharmacy in Africa to get drugs. So I will call you on my sat phone, and he's going to be like, oh yeah, let me write you the script. What pharmacy do you use? Katie's Pharmacy. Okay. Your drugs will be waiting for you. You get them. They're going to expire in 2 years or however long, depending. And antibiotics, you don't want to use them once they're expired because some of them, get very toxic, like lethal toxic. So they're poisonous once they expire. Tetracycline is a good example of that. All right, but don't just. And I know for a lot of the survival people, it's you can use fish antibiotics. You can. That's like you can use Clorox bleach to purify water, but you ever drink water that's been treated with Clorox bleach? Which, by the way, the longer that bottle of bleach sits there, it's only good for so many months. A lot of people don't realize that either. So now instead of you only using 7 drops, it's why it says 7 to 16 drops. So now it's an old bottle of bleach. You're having to use 16 or 10 drops of bleach, and it tastes like you're drinking out of the swimming pool. There are better options for treating water. All right.
Like
likewise,
Grail bottles.
Yeah, yeah. But there are better options for getting antibiotics now. But again, I'm sorry, I do not have any experience with that company. And here's the deal: I'm not one of those guys on the internet that will just regurgitate what he's heard other people say on the internet, because I get that a lot. People say, well, hey man, everybody else vouches for this guy. Okay, cool. I hope those other guys all have opinions. I don't have enough information to give you my educated opinion, but unfortunately I go back and I talk to some of these guys and like, well, this guy said this, and they're one guy made a comment and everybody else chimed in repeating the same thing. So just because people on the internet are saying this is the latest and greatest hotness, or this, you got to do this, or this is better, I challenge you to sometimes just lean back in your chair a little bit and just say, what would Carl do? And one, is going to get you in trouble. 2, you're going to have a lot more fun in life. You really will. But no, I'm all about hitting people in the face with common sense. But my point for saying this is, I'm not one of those guys that will lie to you, regurgitate something I heard some other instructors say, just so I can sound intelligent in front of you. I would rather be honest and have you think less of me. All right, Carl, what do you think about 300 Blackout? Like, I don't know anything about 300 Blackout. And this was the president of Remington at the time, George Colatides. He looked at me and go, you just talked for 20 minutes about 7.62 by 51. You don't know. I'm like, I've heard about 300 Blackout, a lot of it. I've shot it a few times, but I don't have enough information to give you my opinion. So they sent me an AAC upper. They sent me, I want to say it was like 600 rounds of subs, 600 rounds of supersonics. And a month later, he emails me again, ha, 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 what do you think of 300 Blackout now? I'm like, I don't have an opinion yet. And he's like, what? Exclamation point, exclamation. I'm like, dude, right now I am reloading 300 Blackout. That's what it's famous for, right? Doing subsonics, custom tailored loads to the gun, blah, 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 blah. Now, when people ask me about 300 Blackout, I will now say I have an opinion, right? And I will give you my honest opinion about things. But if I don't have an opinion, I'm not afraid to say it. All right, we're falling behind already. That is so cool.
Awesome.
Right? All right, guys, you understand Emory is back from Israel now and everything. And if you all have questions for him, please send them to, put them in the chat room and I will
send them
get
to
them.
someone who can read.
Yes. Annalise and Kyle Beeler are here. They threw down 10 bones, super chat. What class course have you taken which you feel was most important for your career as a whole? Most important course.
Oh, I got it. Well, for me, for sure. I mean, it was. I don't know if operator training qualifies, but that was 2 years that really set the rest of my life.
OTC. It made him an operator, because up to then he wasn't an operator. He was just a guy in the Army. Yeah, I would say the same thing. You guys know I saw the movie The Green Berets when I was in junior high school. And I understand most people in high school and even college don't know what they want to do with their lives. They just are stumbling through it. But in junior high school, I watched the movie Saturday afternoon on my big, huge wooden TV in my living room, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to go to Vietnam, wear a Green Beret, and kill people. And
Amen.
So I made a decision. So all the other schools I did in the regular Army and everything, getting ready, and all my experiences in a scout platoon, on a recon platoon, a scout team, and a sniper team, all these experiences helped mold me. But the school that made me who I am today, which is what my goal was, it would be the Special Forces Qualification Course. They call it the Q course, and that's where you earn your Green Beret. I started off as a medic. I knew I was not put on this planet to be a medic. They said you can be a medic or you can go needs of the Army, which is right now Korea. All right, medics lead the way. Because I was thinking regular Army medic, a Special Forces medic. Everybody on the A team is weapons first. And then after the gunfight's over with, combo guys talk on the radio, the engineer guys blow stuff up, and the medic guys patching people up. So what I found was a lot of the regular Army medics failed the course. They couldn't pass. They were great in the hospital. They were great as a field medic, but they were not put on this planet to be Green Berets. I'm better under pressure. Trauma doesn't bother me, and I hate not being able to help if somebody's injured. So me starting my SF career as a Special Forces medic was perfect for me because it made me more well-rounded, and it helped mold me. So excellent question, Annalise. I appreciate that. Good question indeed. All right, anything else to add on that one, Emory?
Yeah, I think, I look back at I guess OTC. I've always referred to that as just the CAG thing, but so our training, I was in training for about 2 years before, we get the pin and start doing stuff. And the skills you get, the skills are great. There's a lot of skills. You do a lot of stuff, right? All the people that think that, I can shoot real fast and shoot faster than these guys, and that's not really what it's about, right? It's everything else that's more important. You can teach any monkey to shoot, right? You can get any person into better shape. It's what's in here and what's in here, and beyond that, and that's where you learn it, right? You don't learn. I always, I think about it this way, right? A good friend is not measured by how much they help you when it's easy to help. A good friend is measured by how they help you when it's really difficult to help you, right?
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the biggest takeaway from all this stuff is, once bullets start flying, you know who your brother is. Mm-hmm. So just a quick little anecdote. I had a guy on my team. We were the two biggest guys on the team all through training. We did 2 years of training together. And we hated each other. Any of you guys who have ever been to one of our pistol carbine classes, and you know how when we teach your loading procedures, right? You want to lock back that bolt, and then what do you do first? You want to inspect that chamber, as Carl says, in case Z put a cigarette butt in there, right?
Yeah.
Well, this motherfucker would put cigarette butts, and not cigarette butts. He didn't smoke. He would put M&Ms and raisins and that kind of shit in my rifle, and he would grab handfuls of Gorp, right? The trail mix or whatever, and put them under my bed for inspection on Friday so that I would get my pass taken away. And then every time after that, I'd kick the shit out of him. It turned into a severe hate. Now, this guy was tremendously talented. Also a tremendous asshole, but tremendously talented. He was
That's
the
awesome.
best navigator, best all kinds of stuff on the team. I was good at other stuff. He was good at these things. Well, this isn't politically correct, but I'll say it in my language, so, whatever. I had many thoughts about, man, I can't wait to go to combat because the second he turns around, I'm putting one square in the back of his brain. That's how much I hated this guy. First op we went on, we took heat, and we left, and I was like, you know what? I will go to war next to this guy any day. And
Exactly.
and we ended up actually being very, very good friends afterwards. So my point in saying that is the biggest lessons I got from all of training are not the skills, they are the personality traits, right? It's the honor, and I don't mean honor in some bullshit, chivalrous whatever. I mean honor in the sense of like you being truthful with your friends, you being there for them when it's the hardest for you, that kind of thing. So it was a little long-winded, but that's probably the best lessons I got.
I got just a couple minutes. Sue hasn't called yet.
I can call him.
No, you don't have to yet. Let me.
I did see it.
It's all good. I had another one come in here. I got a few more questions. Whenever Sue calls, Sue can call. Luke B. Any reason a working father in his 40s shouldn't get on gear anabolic steroids? Time is running out. All right, here's the deal. The really big muscle-bound guys, like the monsters, they completely fail in combat. I'm not joking. The guys with the pretty gym muscles, the ones that like pose and stuff, I can take them on an obstacle course and they completely fail. It happens all the time. It is hilarious to watch. Pretty guys fail. Right? That's just the truth. What you need to be is a winner. There's a difference. Okay. Now, there are guys that are built to be just total muscle heads, naturally have more muscle than other people. So all they do is pump iron and they take even more steroids and they get massive. That's a fucking loser to me. He looks tough, but he doesn't do anything else. The flip side of that is you got the guy that runs a marathon every weekend, all right? Yeah, sure, his heart rate's 54 like mine, but he's skinny as a rail and he's got to have his wife carry the groceries into the car out of the back of the Subaru. He runs because he was built to be a runner, but that's all he does because that's what he's good at. Winners, and this is my personal experience, okay? The guys in the Green Berets, the guys in Delta, the guys in the SEAL teams, the ones that make it the most are not the really big guys or the real little. It's the guys with the brains, but also they have to have the constitution, the heart. They have to have the constitution to capitalize on what you do good. But look at yourself in the mirror and see where your weaknesses are. And if your weaknesses are you were built to be a runner, you don't have enough muscle mass, okay, you don't have to work at running. You can do it every so often, okay, fine. But your ass needs to be in the gym. The muscle-bound guy that can't run to his car coming out of the gym, but he's in the gym 6 days a week.
And now I'm going to have to carry that guy too, right?
I have to carry him. He needs to be out there running more, right? And it's not about cutting fat. It's about conditioning the heart and the entire circulatory system to deal with what is needed to be done in combat. And you can be any age to take steroids. And the example I like to use is Sylvester Stallone. All right? We all love Rocky. Sylvester Stallone as a person, and he's not allowed to say this out loud. I'm not allowed to say who I know it from. But he is he's a very conservative person. You can't say that in Hollywood. You can't say that in Hollywood. So he has to live his life as a recluse. But before every movie, poor Sylvester Stallone, because he did it for Rambo, he has got to jump back on the roids again for so many months. And I mean, he's taken like six times the level that any sane human being should be taking. But you got to hand it to him. He's in his 70s, right? And he is still, he's still a monster. He really is. He's not, but he's cut up. He makes pretty muscles. All right.
Well,
you can get on those muscles, and a lot of SEALs do it, a lot of Rangers do it, a lot of Delta guys, and a lot of Green Berets do it. They'll get on the roids so that because if you're not built for it, it's very hard to get all that extra muscle mass, right? So if you want to be a big breacher, the only way you're going to be able to do it is, for a lot of people, is to take steroids. And you can find doctors in the military that will sign off on it. They will, so that you can get all that extra muscle mass. That's fine to accomplish the mission, but And if you need to do that, if you feel, and because I don't know you, brother, I don't know if you're physically, to add more muscle mass, you need to get on roids. If that's the case, go talk to a doctor. But understand, as soon as you stop taking them, you're going to lose that muscle, because the roids are telling your body to do things that your body doesn't want to do. All right, now, if you're not using all that steroid to make muscles, you'll see we in the gym, you call it roid jaw. The guy, your jaw will actually grow. You get extra bone mass right here. All right, and you'll get massive muscles, but you're like, dude, man, look at the roid jaw on that guy right there. He looks like a monster because he is a monster. As soon as he stops taking steroids, gets married, whatever, gets moved to a staff job, he loses all the muscle, but that bone, that roid jaw is still there. And a lot of the damages that are caused to your other organs from taking too high a level of roids. Understand there's sacrifices with everything, all right? So my whole thing is, and I'm one of those guys built to be a marathoner. All right? I ran one in my life just so I could say I did it. All right? I cannot stand running. All right? I cannot stand it. All right? Bores the death out of me. I would run enough to maintain the capability, to maintain my cardio, but I was put on this planet to run. I was not put on this planet to have a lot of muscle and rip doors off of hinges. I weigh 194 right now. My best shape in the military in A15, the highest I got was 220, 225. All right. But I had a lot less fat. I didn't have my jelly roll, but I had more muscle. It is very hard for me now with all my joints blown and everything. I can't push heavy weights. I can't do it. Maintain, do the best you can. Look in the mirror, find what your weaknesses are, and try to improve your weaknesses. But look at what you need to be able to do. And if you're doing this just to look pretty or scary, I'm so past that part in my life. You need to be quietly lethal.
Capable.
Yeah, you need to be capable. You just need to be capable.
Yeah,
But
see, I'm the opposite, man. I hate running. That was the biggest. Oh, I hate running long distances. Good at sprints, but man, anything over a mile, I just hate life. But you let me pick something up and carry it, rip doors off hinges, yay. We all have that thing we have to work on, but cheating usually doesn't give you the results you're looking for anyway.
Tip drip. 5 bones. Good evening. Carl, range day this weekend. Forecast cold and windy. Should I save the ammo, or will the 20 mile an hour plus winds be a good teacher? Depends what you're going to go do. All right. If this is a day that you'd plan to go training, go train.
You know what? Hold on. It doesn't depend on what you're going to go do, in my opinion. Here's why I say this, which is, and it's not saying what you said is wrong, but why do you shoot? Do you shoot for a competition? Do you shoot just for fun? Or are you shooting, if you're here, that's not the case, right? If you're here with us right now, you shoot because you want to be capable. And if you want to be capable and you're a fair weather shooter, you're by definition not capable. That doesn't mean that you have to go train every time the weather's shitty, but if you don't know what it feels like in 30 mile an hour winds when it's raining, if you don't know what your bullets are doing at 30 mile an hour crosswind, quarter value wind, blah, 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 whatever, then you're not capable with that package, right? So I would say that at least once in a while, you go out and you make yourself suffer. And guess what? We all know this, that when you go suffer, suffering sucks, right? That's the definition of the word. But how do you feel after you're done suffering? You always feel like $1 million, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would actually change my training. If I've got gusty wind that's not consistent, that would allow me to measure the winds and then gather data, I would change that training day's plan to go do like closer in work, all right, flat range work. If it's raining, cats and dogs, snow, it's a great chance for you to shake out your kit. But if it's just insanely windy, but it's a constant wind, that's the day you're like, hey man, it's really windy. Instead of doing pistol carbine today, let's do long gun. and you go out and you actually wind meters at different distances, and you go, hey man, right now we're kind of sheltered here. The wind only feels 7 miles an hour, but it's a constant 20 downrange. Hey, let's shoot. Let's actually test our data, because my ballistic software, all right, if you run in applied ballistics or something like that, all right, it says I got update available. Really? Let's not do it right now. All right. It allows you to test the data, because you understand these ballistic programs are only as good as the data, as the information that you're putting into it. So it's always good to do what they call true your data. So if it goes on and says, hey, to shoot that 600 meter target, 20 mile an hour wind, you need to hold 1.2 mils left. Actually go out 20 mile an hour wind and shoot the target and holding at 1.2 mils. And if you hit way off to the side, then figure out why. Maybe you estimated winds wrong. Maybe it was 30 miles an hour. Maybe it wasn't 20. Okay, but if you're verifying it, no shit, with a wind meter, not where you're at, but you understand, for me, I like winds 2/3 of the way down to the target, right? If it's a really long shot, halfway, 3/4 of the way, right? You're calculating multiple winds there. And I know there are mathematicians that will tell you the wind affects your bullet more right at the end of the barrel, and tell them to suck a dick. They've never shot a gun in their lives, all right? They're a mathematician is all they are, all right? Real snipers will tell you the winds, as a bullet's starting to slow down, all right, you're at max ordnance. In other words, you're clearing more of the hill on the side, all right? That's where the wind's going to be affecting it, all right? But yeah, get out there. If it's really windy but gusty, stay in close training. But yeah, never turn down a day where you can go training, man.
There's one more piece to this. So get this. So when I teach people shooting, I think of it this way, in terms of the weather, right? If I'm trying to insert skills into someone's subconscious, right? We're trying to get that, learn a new skill, something you have to be really consciously focused on and really present and aware mentally. Then it starts raining and being ugly. I'm gonna go inside and do some dry fire and that kind of thing, right? Because if it's something that's really cerebral, that's new information to you, or something that you have to kind of shake the rust off of, then I would opt for better weather if I have the choice. Once something's already there and you're refining a skill, or you're just kind of keeping it up or whatever, then I look for bad weather, right?
Yep. Matthew Dion. Hey, Carl. White Label Armory changed their name. Do you know if the quality is still good?
It's a good question.
No, I don't know.
Good question.
They were decent people to work with before, and they made stuff for a lot of your major manufacturers. But honestly, I don't know. And if anybody in the chat room knows, please let me know, because I'd be interested in knowing that also. Well, it shouldn't matter, right, if they change their name. Why would you change your name? Obviously, somebody bought them out, all right? And it really does matter. And a good example I like to use is, everybody knows Surefire makes good suppressors, right? Well, a lot of people don't know is the U.S. SOCOM suppressor contract back, I don't remember what year it was, 2005, 2010. Anyways, Surefire was actually beat out by AAC. AAC made suppressors that were better than Surefire. Now, Surefire still got a slice of that contract because AAC couldn't make their suppressors fast enough. But at the time, AAC was making the best suppressor. I have a bunch of AAC suppressors. But then AAC was bought out by Freedom Group, or bought out by the company above them, Cerberus. And Freedom Group brought like a bunch of companies, Henry, a bunch of other companies all down. No, it was Marlin. Marlin, AAC, a few other companies down to a former Toyota factory down in like Alabama. Well, you tell everybody to move their companies there. A lot of those engineers, the guys that are making all the great stuff, they don't want to move their families, so they don't go. So now you're having to hire new people, and what happens? You end up losing quality control. So, but if they just got bought, but it's in the same facility, same people, it quite possibly could be still great stuff. So we shall see. We shall see indeed. All right. We had a couple more come in here. John Brady. If Emory is up to it, ask him if he can say anything about what's going on in Israel as far as the war effort. Thank you. All right, guys. First off, if you want Emory to go on and on and on, understand he's got his own Patreon, and he does a lot of stuff for his patrons. Same thing for our patrons also. But understand, he could talk for hours and not get you up to speed. All right. But what I will do is, like just today, and I know it's a rough thing for Emory. Emory lost some guys from his unit over there, and we actually got to watch the video. It was an accident. Was it 5 guys? 9?
We had 6 guys from my unit, 9 guys total.
9 guys total. Dead.
Yep.
But I will. I'll give you the floor, but understand we're behind on questions. So if you want to share some.
I'll tell you what. Before we start this, if Susan or actually Annalise is here, Annalise, maybe we can set up some sort of live stream like this for like next week or something, and everybody who's here listening and is interested. Annalise, maybe we can set up something to where we can focus on that, so I don't detract from Carl's time.
Oh, dude, it is fascinating that guys. That's modern combat. He showed me a video earlier.
I'll show it.
Flying the drone down the stairs. Gunfight, they're throwing frag grenades back and forth. You're watching tracers clip the edge of the concrete wall, explode in the room. And I know it was a tracer that did that because I've been in rooms that tracers came and clipped like that. I was like, that's a fucking tracer right there. That's an AK tracer room. Yeah. But right behind it came in a frag grenade. And I'm like, oh, snap. I'd be getting out of the room. And what did the guy with the camera do? Got out of the room. So he's got some fascinating stuff to share.
It looked like a mess. And actually, I think now I'm at liberty to show it because I saw that it was put on the internet by somebody.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. I'm thinking about how to try to do this briefly and where to start. So I'll start with this. I'll start with the big picture. The big picture is, generally speaking, Israel has gone to what's called stage 3 of this conflict. Stage 1 being a little shy of 3 months ago. Stage 1 was essentially kill all the terrorists that got into Israel, which happened in the first 48 hours, and then start the initial ground invasion and take over the northern part of Gaza, cut Gaza into 2. Stage 1, done. Stage 2, seize essentially the rest of the northern part of the Gaza Strip, and then start taking over the southern part of Gaza. There are main headquarters in both sections. Understand that it's a small piece of land. It's about 15 or 20 kilometers by about 30 kilometers ish. Don't quote me on the exact numbers, but that's a general size of the area that you're talking about, right?
We got Donnie Bowen watching you right now.
Hey, Donnie. I haven't talked to Donnie in a minute. I love Donnie. How you doing, brother? So stage 2 was essentially really taking over, intensifying everything, starting to get into the subterranean area, right? Stage 1 is just above ground, establishing a foothold. Stage 2, really starting to take out tunnel piers, starting to locate all these tunnel piers and entrances, and taking the war underground as well. Stage 3 is not a good thing. Not a good thing for the good guys, because this is where I'll plug this in. This is my read on the reasoning for stage 3 occurring at this moment. And that is the Biden administration pushing Israel to essentially stop, right? To stop essentially going after killing all of Hamas.
I'm sure CNN will blame Trump for it, though.
Of course they will. It's always Trump's fault. Oh, hey, here's... Guys, little timeout. I promised to get back to this, but we have... Why is he calling me on FaceTime? Hi.
Fucking monkey boy.
I want to show you guys something. Let me... Hold on.
Hold on.
How do I do this?
I think you go like that.
Okay.
Guys, look at that ugly mug right there. Holy smokes. Are you at home, Sue, or are you at...
the VA.
You're at the... Oh, that's right. You're at the VA, right?
I'm at the ICU and at the VA.
But ICU at the VA in... What city?
In B...
North Carolina.
North Kakalaki. Guys, we tried not to let the whole world know. I did let my patrons know, but we didn't let the whole world know. Sue just had another massive heart attack. Why do we call it massive, Sue? Because everything about Sue LaRue is massive.
Except for one thing. Except for one thing.
Possible, what is it?
Pericarditis, Sue.
Pericarditis, possible pericarditis and myocarditis.
Yeah, it's one being fluid around the heart inside the sac, and the other one is inflammation of the muscle around it.
Yeah, the pericardium is that sac around the heart, and that gets inflamed or fluid in it.
You remember your notes from 18 Delta.
We were just talking about 18 Delta, of course, we were. Dude, it's so good to hear from you, Sue. As soon as I heard, we were filming videos, and I could just see it broke Emory's heart right there, and then I'd let my wife know, and broke her heart. So,
and both of us have bad hearts.
Yeah. So, mine's kind of a solid block of charcoal.
I was gonna say, lump of coal, but.
All right, but Sue, we're glad you're getting care.
I don't think the internet at the hospital is all that good. Is he doing the old blanket trick again?
Yeah, he's. We love you, Sue.
Just not that much.
Not that much. Of course, guys. Sue likes to tent the front of his blanket with Dixie cups and stuff. He uses socks when he's out in public, but he likes to throw them off. So how you doing, man? You gonna be able to make it to our mountain readiness thing in May?
I'll be there.
You better be, dude. Don't be dying on me, Sue. That would suck. That would totally suck.
Yeah, I'd have to go kick your ass.
Think about how much urine would be on that gravestone. You don't want to go there, Sue. You know you don't. Don't go there. Mario V. will be squatting on top of your stone, just dumping a loaf right there. You know he would.
My wife is already looking for a headstone that's shaped like a fire.
Oh, that's all, dude. We love you, Sue. So the whole internet's listening. What you got going on? Anything you want to share with them?
I'm feeling pretty good, and everybody just don't worry. I'm in here for testing. That's all. So.
They're testing to see if there's a brain in there.
Yeah. Well, Sue.
Bad news for Emory, though. My wife's been researching it, and I can't go into altitude to skydive.
No, really?
Ooh. Yeah, he won't violate that till at least summertime.
Till at least like next week.
Till at least February.
Yeah.
No, Sue. No, don't go Jerry J on me. You can wait till summertime. You can go till summertime. Eventually you got to put that parachute up.
Hey! You don't say shit like that.
Are you going to be able to make it to Normandy with us in June?
That's what I'm saying. What's happening in June? We gotta go
Yeah. I want you to come, but not if you're going to die. I'm not going to be the guy responsible for killing the legend Sue LaRue.
You know what, man? A little bit of wind can't kill Sue.
Yeah, I've been making sure everybody, like, don't tell my ortho surgeon that I'm parachuting on this newly replaced knee. Yeah.
I think the question you ask is, can I go on an airplane? That's what you ask your doctor. Not, can I jump out of it?
I got on the plane and then I got off the plane.
That's what people
right?
do.
No big deal. It's what people do.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, Sue, that's bad news. I'm a little more heartbroken now, honestly.
Awesome
Sue and
stuff.
I had all these plans.
He's holding his he's holding his phone out so you guys could see his tenting some more.
No, for sure. I saw you and it went down.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Sue, we're going to let you get back to sleep. You being East Coast and, I don't know, cardiac intensive care.
I don't know, man. He's at the VA hospital. I wouldn't close my eyes.
Yeah, at least you're not on hospice yet. You are at the VA, so if the guy that says harvest organs are us shows up, you don't let him in the room. All right? You run that boy out.
All right, you guys take care.
All right,
Take care,
brother.
Sue. We love you. All right. All right, guys.
All right.
We asked Sue about 10 minutes before the live stream, hey, would you come hang out with us for just a little bit? Because I know everybody, everybody wanted to say hi to him.
Let me get back to this here
All right,
and
yep,
try
go
to.
ahead.
I'm gonna try to do this as briefly as I can. Again, we'll try to set up something for you guys as soon as Carl and I are done with the next few days that we have
Yep.
to do, because we're not gonna have evenings off. So, all right. So stage 2 we discussed. Stage 3 we're talking about back to the Israel thing. Stage 3, which we've now had to go into about 2 days ago, is essentially based on taking a lot of the main infantry forces out, or a lot of the main forces that are just in there all the time fighting, taking them out, and starting to do more targeted operations. All our operations were targeted, but they were, but they were taking over the whole thing. Now it's more like
you had a
more soft,
more permissive environment. Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah. Now it's more soft type things like go in, kill this guy, go in, grab this, building,
Yep.
whatever. The reason for that is not tactically correct. The reason for that is political in nature, because essentially the Biden administration is saying, okay, look, we've been helping you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they have been, right? They absolutely have been. But they're trying to placate all these pro-Hamas pieces of shit here. And the way they're trying to do that is to say, hey, Israel, you should really calm down and blah, blah, blah. Even though all of them know that's not what should be done. But they're trying to get reelected.
Yep.
And so what they're doing is they're withholding military aid, essentially, of the Democrats. And you heard about this, hopefully this vote in the Senate, what was it, yesterday, where 100% of the Democratic senators essentially voted against a military aid package to Israel right now, right? 100% of the Democratic senators, let that sink in a second. So Israel's like essentially capitulating to America. I want you to understand this. Winning a war has to be decisive. It's got to be decisive, right? It's got to be clear-cut, 100%, especially when you're fighting terror groups like this. Because if it is not a decisive, absolute victory, they win. Those are the rules of this type of war. This is a type of war that we've not seen before. And so you have to understand that if any Hamas survives, we lose this war, right? These people cannot stay alive, period. So this phase 3 thing is really not a positive thing. Not in this timing. Yes, it was part of the planning for later, once we have achieved specific objectives, right? Those tactical objectives have not been reached. And so it's just too soon to get to this phase. So that's where we are, generally speaking. overall, we've had some losses, obviously nowhere near the losses on the other side. I would urge everybody not to look at, let me say this a different way. I would urge, when you look at casualty numbers on the Palestinian side, A, I don't trust those numbers to begin with. B, think about all the times you've heard, hey, 12,000 Palestinian civilians dead, 15,000, it's what they're saying now, 23. Mm-hmm. A, where are those numbers coming from? Who's the government in Gaza, right? It's Hamas. It's not the Palestinian people, it's Hamas, whom the Palestinian people chose to lead them, okay? Mm-hmm. So all of those numbers are skewed, as they always have been throughout history. Look at any reporting from the Palestinian side on any of these things. It's pretty much always a lie, right? It's always skewed at the very least.
Yep.
2, think about all those reports, and when have you ever heard, out of the X number of Palestinians killed, this is the number that was Hamas militants?
Yeah, they never say that.
Not once ever. You know why? Because it would defeat their purpose. Because the majority of them arguably are Hamas people, but it's also a very difficult war because to fight in that sense, because it's not green on green, right? You're not looking for uniforms to kill. You're looking for anybody who's trying to harm you, which they drop the gun, run away. They're already dressed like the rest of the population there, right? It's a very difficult thing. So that's that. In terms of, I would say morale. The morale in the military is incredibly high. It is high, believe it or not. Despite losses, despite everything, I'm in touch. I have a group that I'm in touch with operators in my unit and reservists in my unit and all that. So I get some of those reports, and morale is incredibly high. When you look at the Israeli society, very interesting things that are happening. Everybody is grouped together, right? The Jewish DNA is used to stuff like this, and every time something like this happened, we band together despite our differences. One of the reasons this war was started at this timing was because of all the internal instability that was going on in Israel the year prior, right? Mm-hmm. So the Arabs thought that this would be a great opportunity. We're weak, the army's weak, all these not correct assessments that they made based on things that were correct, but their projections were incorrect. Mm-hmm. And so this has actually had the effect of bringing the whole country very much together. I wouldn't say morale is high in the civilian population in Israel in general, but the fighting spirit is high. I don't know if that makes good sense or not.
They want to know, how's your back doing?
You know what? I appreciate the question. Right now, my back is it's pretty good, all things considered. I've been doing some PT and that kind of stuff. But my back's not important. Winning this war is important.
You did get the morale one, so morale is good. Cool.
Okay.
Ed P. Emory, how's the civilian gun ownership in Israel coming along?
Good question.
He says each home that lives by the border should have a weapon.
Well, first of all, thanks for the question, and I 100% agree with you. Every home, not near the border, every home, every Jewish home in Israel needs to be armed and trained, period, like they were in the 40s and 50s.
Right, that makes so much sense for Israel, but you understand, I feel the same way about America. America
100%.
Would be a much, much more polite place.
Guys, this is why we do what we do. This is why Carl and I do what we do, is so that shit like happens in Israel doesn't happen here. It's just that. But what was the question? Was the other question? Civilian gun. Okay,
civilian gun ownership.
Okay,
we've talked about this at length, so I know you can do this question. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll try to do this briefly as well. So, Israel in the last 20, 30 years has gone through a process of less and less guns in the civilian population. There are some reasonable kind of reasons for that. I disagree with the overall picture. What happened was directly after the October 7th attacks, what happened was the government essentially was like, oh, yep, we messed up, and we need guns in the houses. Last time I think I was on the live stream, we talked about a couple of the cases of what happened when there were guns in the house during the October 7th raid. So, and those turned out very, very differently than the rest of the poor, 1,400 people who were slaughtered. So there have been a lot more guns released I should say licenses released for guns, but they're pretty much all for pistols, which I still think is criminal because the example we gave last time is a guy fended off, I think it was 15 or 17 or whatever, Hamas guys on that day with nothing but a Glock 17 with iron sights and a dump pouch full of mags. But that was a very well-trained guy who was also very switched on up here. Most people with some training are not that, right? So I would hope that I would be like that, but you don't know until that specific case happens to you, right? Yeah, I'm missing this part, aren't I? So there are more guns, but they're pistols. It's better than nothing. I was just in Israel. Everybody's walking in the street for the most part now. Everybody's getting licensed and all that. So that's decent. I don't think the level of training is there. Certainly not in this short amount of time. But they are actually, there are a few projects going on to create more teams to protect towns made of the people living in the town, not bringing in other soldiers, but training the people there and creating an actual security team with rifles, with plate carriers, the whole thing. So that's essentially that. Was there another part to that question?
You got a bunch. David Elkins wants to know if you've ever thought about writing about or video logging your grandparents' history in Israel. Particularly it's your grandmother, right? She was.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them, really.
Yeah.
Both
of them on that side.
His grandmother, I've heard some awesome stories about her. And then he goes
badass.
on asking, or your history or parachuting endeavors with Sue. You going to write a book?
I'd have to learn how to read and write first. Look, man, if you want to help me write the book.
He's as bad as I am.
No, I'm probably worse. You've actually done some work on it. I think, I don't know, I've never seen any of my stories as very interesting. If y'all find them interesting, then, maybe we have something to talk about. My grandparents were interesting.
Book that was just given to me, written about a soldier that went in the military in peacetime, got deployed to Germany, stationed in Germany, and came back and got out of the army. And all I did was write about basically just hooking up with all the chicks off duty.
Everybody
and how bad
loves
army
German
life
girls.
was. And it's a popular book. Like the guy said, who sent me the book said he read it twice. And he's got 3 copies of the book. I'm like, okay. I think he's trying to say, look, if this guy can do it, you can write a book. He needs to write a book. Sularoo definitely needs to write a book. Donnie Bowen needs to write a book.
I miss you,
guys
Donnie.
remember when Bruce Lee wrote his book? He was actually, he was in traction real bad. He was
broken his
in the
spine.
hospital, broken his back. And they had to rotate him every so many minutes and everything. His wife become girlfriend,
Other way around.
girlfriend become wife, would lay underneath him while he was on the traction machine, and she would take notes and draw pictures for him and everything, and hence the birth of that whole martial art. So yeah,
You know what, David,
Emory
dude,
needs to do
I
it.
appreciate
He
it.
does to do it.
And
Needs to do it.
with the right people around me, maybe we could make something happen. I don't know.
Quavatus threw down 5 bones. Great to see you both, and thanks for the great info. Question: is all land nav GPS now? Any old time map and compass use? Funny you say that, because I actually, one of the 14 videos we just filmed was how to take a azimuth with a lensetic compass in the dark, how to use the markings on the compass to set that azimuth. You get under your poncho with a red lens flashlight and you set it where it needs to be, and then when you come out and you can't see nothing, you line up the parts that are glowing, and so long as you keep them lined up and you follow the other ones. Easy once you've been shown, even one time. But if you've never been shown, those are just marks on a compass. No big deal. But yeah, it's a...
But a compass doesn't help you without truly understanding A, maps, B, you can they're two separate skills. Reading a map is one skill. Converting what you understood from a map to what you see out there
Terrain
is a
association.
whole other skill called terrain association.
Terrain association. Now, you asked about GPSs. Now, the military does allow GPS now because GPS
Even in
is
training?
easy. Even in training.
Really?
GPS is easy because that's what you're going to use. However, they still test map and compass, and I encourage you guys to also. And I know you guys use like Google and Waze and everything when you're driving around, and you're like, honey, where do I turn? Where do I turn? It happened the other day. Me and the wife, we were riding around somewhere in Nashville. We were down in Nashville. Traffic. I'm like, where do I turn, honey? And she's like, wait, I'm waiting for my phone to update. She's waiting for the little thing to go around. No, the phone had a great cell phone connection because that's radio waves. What the cell phone was waiting on was GPS connections because it has to have so many satellites. The more satellites it's connected to that it can see and talk to, the more accurate your GPS setting is going to be. And that's why Star Wars is so important and the Space Force is so important because you understand if the Chinese or whoever knocks out enough GPS satellites, our Tomahawk cruise missiles our satellite-guided bombs, our JDAMs, are not going to hit their targets. All right? But if you've got enough satellites, they'll hit with 1 meter by 1 meter. You understand they could drop a concrete training bomb and kill a dude if they've linked up to enough satellites because it's going to hit.
Foreheads.
It's going to hit 39 inches to 39 inches. Right? You understand that's a 10-foot long bomb. All right? But let alone a 2,000-pound bomb's got about 1,600 pounds of explosive in it. All right, that's a lot of explosives. So learn to use GPS first because that's what you got. All right, and because it's great to have, but use it, but work with it and master terrain association. I'm not big on dead reckoning. I need to hold 39 degrees for exactly 640 meters, and then I need to go 90 degrees.
You know what we call that?
For 200.
We call that SEAL navigation.
Well,
that's what we call it.
They call it SEAL navigation.
You go that way 30 steps.
We do, but in the Army they call it dead reckoning, right? Where you go straight line. The problem with straight line is, especially in real terrain, not paved or mowed courses, why would I want to go through a thicket and a draw when, or have to climb up over something when I could just box around it, very, very easily. So learn terrain association, learn map reading. We're going to start doing more and more land navigation courses because I'm actually, one, because you guys have been asking about it a lot, but two, while I see lots of other videos out there about it, and I don't watch them, but I see there are other people doing it, but I don't want to send you guys so much to other websites. Rather, I want to say, hey, here's my take on it. Learn from my mistakes, my successes. I learned all my land nav before I got into SF. Yeah, I love being a Green Beret, but my first few years in the military, I was in a recon platoon, a scout team leader, team sergeant. My little 4-man scout team, I would lead from the front, and they just followed me carrying all the radio equipment, and I got great at terrain association. I know I float through Camp Lejeune, float through Fort Bragg, float through Fort Campbell. It's not because you memorize where all the trees are, it's because you can visualize what's on the map and then visualize what it's going to look like out to your front. Those contour lines, guys, we're coming up on a draw that's going to be really deep. We're probably going to get our feet wet. Do we want to do that, or we're going to go 2 kilometers out of our way? We don't have time, all right? Or, yeah, hey, we got a bad thicket coming up. We get down in that thick stuff, we could get hung up and it could cost us 45 minutes. Or we can box around for half an hour. We're walking a longer distance, but we're saving us 15 minutes. You see, being able to judge the terrain and read the terrain. But yeah, definitely GPS is a thing, but the military still uses map and compass.
So I have a slightly different take on that. The way I was brought up in the military, we already had GPS. They weren't like today's GPSs, right? We got like a grid. We got grid numbers, and then it would have an arrow, right? And that was it. That's all it had. An arrow just in the general direction of the next waypoint you put in. But we never used them for land nav. They would get programmed for that night's land nav, and then they would get tucked away behind you in the back of your vest. Because if you don't learn land nav first, then you shouldn't use a GPS, period. Because you just can't depend on it. Batteries die. Forget a satellite gets taken out. Batteries die, cloudy, too much tree cover, whatever other Chinese backdoor is in that machine or whatever, you have to, your GPS should be a confirmation of what you already know. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, got another one here from Philip Wilson.
Hey, what's up,
10
Phil?
Bones. How do you recommend storing ammo? Safes, ? Etc. Right? One, I will say I do not store ammo in safes. Let me refer. He's giving me that look. Okay. I own a lot of ammo. Okay. And it's not because I'm a nutbag. It's because I train a lot of courses. But think about back when I used to shoot competitively 3-gun matches. Me and my son both shot 3-gun matches. So if we have a match on Saturday in February, all right, the second Saturday in February, the week prior, maybe 2 weeks prior, right? He who loads his shotgun the fastest wins at a 3-gun match. So we do pistol rifle, but we would shoot a lot of shotgun. So I'm going to use shotgun as the example. I might use 200 rounds of shotgun on Monday. My son would use 200 rounds of shotgun. That's 400 rounds, all right? Do that for 5 days. We've burnt through 2,000 rounds. Now we go to the match on Saturday. You want to make sure you bring enough ammo. That's another 1,000 rounds. That's 3,000 rounds of shotgun ammo in a single week. All right. So season doesn't really start till February. Too cold. Civilians don't like to shoot matches in the wintertime. But I got my wife in the habit of accepting that every time we go through Walmart, I would always grab a sleeve of 100 rounds of shotgun shells. And basically all November, December, January, February, I'd be grabbing a sleeve of 100 rounds. So in February, when we started getting ready for 3-gun season, me and my son could go out and shoot 2,000 rounds. All right, that's 20 of those sleeves. All right, but come January, I've been picking one or two up every time we go to Walmart. So if CNN was to come into my house, it's like this nutbag survivalist he had an arsenal of seven guns and a stockpile of 3,000 shotgun shells.
Pussy.
And I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, because I see it on the news all the time. He had an arsenal of 4 guns.
Yeah, what an amateur.
And a stockpile of 600 rounds of ammo.
600 rounds is like a half day of training.
If you train a lot, you understand ammo is like, it's like grains of rice, guys.
Air.
You go through it.
It's air.
You don't ever ask how many grains of rice you're eating. You don't ask how many grains is that. You ask, is that enough rice to accomplish the mission? So when it comes to storing ammo, I would not waste your time putting it into a safe. You got your fancy expensive ammo. I've got some 338 Lupua ammo that is $11 a round. And when you want all your ammo to be the same lot number so it flies better. So if you're ordering 1,000 rounds or 1,600 rounds of ammo at $11 a round, I understand that's a big price, right? But think of ammo like your car. You've got that fancy sports car out in the garage right now, all right? Truck, Harley Davidson motorcycle, whatever toy you have. Like I've got a Jeep. I love my Jeep, all right? I don't keep it in a safe. I don't keep it in a vault. I don't. I put the garage door down. I've got a couple dogs to guard it, and I lock the door when I leave. All right. It doesn't need to be in a gun vault. My ammo's the same way. More important than keeping it safe for you to worry about somebody stealing it is keep your guns and your ammo safe from kids accidentally hurting themselves. All right. One, and you shouldn't be advertising how much you have. You guys, you all think I'm a nutbag, and you think that I have a lot of ammo, and you would be.
There's no such thing as a lot of ammo.
Yeah, you would be pleasantly surprised. Okay, but I don't go telling people where I keep the stuff. I don't keep all my stuff in one location, not at all.
Say keep it dry, keep it separated.
Yeah,
keep it all in one place.
Yeah, more important for storage is not that you've got rods and pins and walls of fireproof steel around it with a tumbler lock. That's not what's important. What's important is keep it dry. Keep it dry and cool. And your military grade ammo, you can put it underwater and it's fine. They've got sealed primers, all that stuff. But most of your civilian grade ammo, you get a little too much moisture in it at all. And leave it bad rain out at the range. Like I leave ammo cans filled with ammo out at the range because I have cops that come up sometimes and they don't have ammo to train. I have stuff, or if I go out to the range, whatever, I'll open an ammo can. I have ammo there, but like somebody will leave one of my ammo cans open on a nice sunny day, and I won't notice that the ammo can is open. And I'll come back after like it's still raining right now, except it's looking like it's snow now.
Yeah, it looks snowy, but.
So rain is. So we're looking at the range has got a night vision camera on it, and then the cameras at the shed have got. Anyways, we see rain coming down. When I go back out to the range to see how wet it is, I see that ammo can that's open, and I'm like, and I can't see any ammo in it. Why? Because it filled to the top with water. Filled to the top. All that ammo is worthless now. It is. Your civilian 55 grain 5.56.
Really, even if it's sealed.
Your 9mm ammo. No, I'm saying the ammo can't open.
No, I mean if it's sealed ammo, like if the primer pocket's sealed.
No, if you're not running mil-spec ammo, if you're running training ammo, just understand some of it will work, but it's not anything you want to put in your duty magazines. So what do? We empty it out. I cuss the guy that left it open, and we use it for training. And it may work fine, depending on who the maker was, or you may go click, tap rack, bang, tap rack, tap rack, tap rack, tap rack, tap rack, tap rack. That's my computer.
And that's good training too.
It wants to.
But yeah, dry, I would say even if it's sealed ammo, not sealed in the case, but sealed as in, you'll see like red. It's typically either red or green,
red or blue, even
or blue around the primers. It looks like very thin paint around the primer, and sometimes you'll see it a little bit or around the mouth of the case.
Something I was going to say is just because the casing they bought had sealed primers, if the company doing the reloading does not seal the projectile also, it can suck, guys. It can suck. Yeah. Keep your ammo dry, store it in a good place, but it does not have to be in a vault. I'm sorry I took so long on that question, but that's a lot of people just don't know.
It's a good question.
They don't know.
It's a good question.
Legitimate question. Does not need to be in a gun safe at all. Could you imagine how many gun safes it would take to store our ammo? Can you imagine? Holy cow. No, I might as well just buy a bank that goes out of business. No, their vault wouldn't hold it. Their vault wouldn't hold it.
Honestly, I wish that were the case.
All right. Why should I trust Bibi or the ITF to prosecute this war when they were so incompetent to allow and respond the day attacked? No accountability, just like USA military.
Okay. Who's this question from?
Yeah, this is from
Kevin Dorr.
Kevin Dorr.
Kevin, dude, first of all, good question. It's a 100% good question.
Politicians.
Yeah, but there's more than that. There's two questions here. Okay. The first question is about BB. The second question is about, well, you said IDF. Let me clarify for you your question. What you meant is the security services, because it's much bigger than the IDF is just the military itself. There are a lot more bodies that messed up leading up to that day. So Bibi is the prime minister. For those of you guys who don't know, Benjamin Netanyahu is his nickname is Bibi. That's our prime minister. Bibi is in a big way to blame, but he's not the only one to blame.
No.
I will say this: Bibi is the only one who did not take responsibility for the mistake. He's the only one that did not claim responsibility for the mistakes.
Politicians.
Other politicians did even.
Yeah.
Right? So, like our Minister of Defense, who I think is the only politician in Israel that I truly like. I mean, the guy, and I've met him in person. He was in our Navy SEALs. Like, he's a serious dude. He's a great guy. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe he was the first one to take responsibility, even though he wasn't even in that job in the years leading up to it. So that's one thing. I don't trust Bibi as a politician. I don't trust Bibi as a human. However, Bibi, I've heard some conspiracy theories that Bibi actually let the massacre on the 7th happen so that he could kind of like stay in power. That I would say, I hate Bibi. I do not like him. He absolutely, unequivocally did not do that, right? Even he is not evil like that. Okay, so that's one thing, and you shouldn't trust Bibi, and I don't either. That's question one. Question two, IDF/security services. This is a very complex topic, and I'm not going to burn another hour on it, so I'll try to do this as briefly as I can within like 1 or 2 minutes. The bottom line is this. In Israel, we use this word right now. It's called the conception. Not like immaculate conception. Conception as in this is it's kind of like a perception, right? That what we were under the thought process, right? We it wasn't me. It was the intel community was under the impression that we had gotten Hamas into a situation in the last decade or so where it was not in their best interest to do anything like this, and so it wouldn't be advantageous to them. As we see, it's not advantageous to them, but so we were under this misconception that that there's no reason for them to want to do something like this right now. That's one. Two, every little while the heat shifts into the focused heat shifts into different regions, right? So it's Gaza, it's the West Bank, it's Lebanon, it's various other things, and the heat for the last year was more in the West Bank than it was in Gaza. That was another thing. Another piece is, and I hate to say this, but we're after truth, not speaking from feeling. We're after like what actually happened. Did we mess up? We messed up in a huge way. Absolutely. That doesn't mean that the military or the intelligence community is incompetent. That means that humans made mistakes. Has that ever happened before? Yeah, we make mistakes. So, so your question, while I think it's an excellent question, the way it was worded, if I can kind of read some inflection into there, I disagree with. Because, yes, there were many big mistakes made by many people based on, I think, one is comfort, And by comfort, I mean, it's like, I want to break up with my girlfriend, but like we live together, blah, blah, blah. And so do I really want to change my life just to end this relationship, even though I'm not super happy? Does that make sense as a comfort thing, right? So we get trapped in these kind of ways of thinking, and we think one thing without really sitting there and introspecting and thinking, how have I messed up, or how am I thinking incorrectly? And a lot of people were thinking in that way. So those are things that happened. Having said that, our intel capabilities, both in the military itself and with the other intelligence bodies, are incredibly capable, and they are working incredibly well right now. And this will not repeat itself. This is a lesson learned, right? How did we let how did we let Pearl Harbor happen? Yeah, these things happened because here's the part that I don't like to admit, but this is why I was saying we're after truth, not making myself feel like a man. So we made these mistakes. We have to admit it. We have to correct it. We have to move on and do the best we can from here to improve it. And that's really it. So I still have the full trust in our military. I have the full trust in our intel bodies, not in the politicians. Absolutely not.
He mentioned accountability. And you start dealing with the military, and I understand once you get up to Starfleet command level, your generals and stuff, they have to start playing politics and everything. But the military does not go to war. All right, politicians go to war. A good example, I like to use Bin Laden, for example, right? The guy that masterminded the attack on the World Trade Centers. After the first attack on the World Trade Centers back in the 90s, before the fall of the towers, there were two separate times where our military intel and the CIA had nailed down the exact location of Osama bin Laden. They knew exactly where he was. They actually had submarines surface so that they could launch Tomahawk cruise missiles, right? Mission put together, we're going to take out bin Laden right now. And both times Bill Clinton said no. Bill Clinton is the politician that didn't want to does not make his plan. It's not part of his plan, and as far as accountability, in order to be a professional politician, all right, now remember, I use Clinton as an example. Him and his wife said back in college that they were going to be president of the U.S. So because you're going to lead the country, did they study international relations, right? Stuff like that would have been important. What did they study? Law. Look at all of your Democrats. I'm not saying all. I'm saying all of your career Democrats. All of them are lawyers. Don't get me wrong. A lot of the Republican.
Right. What did Obama study? Law.
A lot of your Republicans, long-term guys, the rhinos. They all study law. Also, but they also have a lot of doctors, a lot of business guys, everything. But your Democrats, they all studied law. Why? Why did the Clintons study law? So they knew how to get around it, right? So the reason why there's no accountability is because, I like Nancy Pelosi, right? Because it's not like I can get her in trouble. She's already sold her soul to the devil. That's why she's been in office for 230 years, all right? She has made all this money doing the insider trading thing. That is illegal, by the way. So how can she do it? It's because she has studied the law, and her team, she has a team, they make sure that no matter what happens, she has plausible deniability. That's just the truth. It's why all this card castle of Hunter Biden, everybody wants his card castle to fall and President Biden to get in trouble. Guys, they're not going to be able to pin anything on President Joe Biden because he's been a professional politician for too long, and they help each other out.
I think professional criminal.
All right, how many emails did George W. Bush send? And I love Bush, right? He let me go to Afghanistan, he let me go to Iraq, everything. How many emails, right? Because you all bitch about Hillary and her email server and everything. Bush didn't send a single email his entire time as president. Not one email.
Really?
Not a single email. How do you do that? You know that boy sent emails, phone calls, texts, everything. No. You have the guy standing next to you send all that stuff for you. So it's the same. It's still his email. It's just he sent it. It's same thing. He should still be accountable for that. But nah, that's not how it plays. You can't hold politicians accountable. You can't. You will never see Nancy Pelosi's head roll. You will never see Obama's head roll. You will never see any of these people's heads roll because they are professional politicians. That's okay. It's part of the game. But the way our country was designed, they are the top of the military. And the military works for the people, right? And unless you can come up with term limits, which, by the way, the only people that can pass that are the politicians that have been in there for 40 years, right? That's the only way to change that is with term limits, and that's not going to happen. So
by the
suck
way,
it up, Buttercup.
I will say this. In Israel, after this war is over, which unfortunately, in my opinion, is going to take quite some time. It's not going to be over at the end of January or whatever Biden's kind of trying to push for. Heads will roll. Many heads will roll in the military, in the Mossad, in Shabak, in the government. Heads will roll. You'll see.
All right, New York City drummer.
What
That's
is
Marvin.
up, man? Marvin.
Marvin threw down $10
Marvelous.
and he said, "What's up?" You got to do the chin.
So,
Sup, Marvin? Sup, Marvin? We
I haven't
miss you,
seen-
boy.
I haven't
we
seen
miss
Marvin in forever.
Marvin, yeah, Marvin. We're doing Patreon course again this year. It's going to be in October. It is 2 weekends before October, before Halloween. So it's a little earlier in the month of October. But dude, we're doing it back in General Butler State Park again in Kentucky, and you got to bring you and your family down for it this year. You got to, Marvin. I need more Marvin in my life. I do. I need more Marvin. All right, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. I said I needed to cut the live stream short, and I wasn't joking, guys. I really, really do. Why is this not? My phone's dying on me.
yeah, mine is too.
All right. Yeah. All right. My wife is actually asking me to wrap it up also. See that? All right. You still experiencing exercise even when it's snowy and rainy? Good question.
What's the
another
question?
question about exercising. Do you get out and exercise? If you're a jogger, right, and you need to maintain cardio, if it's raining and snowing outside, I caution people about doing that. Cold air, even though you don't catch a cold virus or bacterial infection by running in cold air, you don't. But the cold air can damage lung tissue and make it more susceptible that you're getting that one bacteria or virus in there. And you can bust your ass on the ice. Now, honestly, if it's raining and so that's how your shoes stink. You're running shoes, you get them wet real bad. I like to shoot and train outside and go hiking and go camping. And if it's snowing, I don't let things like that bother me. But there are lots of other things that you can do when the weather's really bad. Go to the gym. That's hey, it's raining, snowing, sleet, thunder, lightning. Go to the gym. That's a day you do your weight training. All right. Who's this? We got one more. All right, that was it, guys. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Venture Surplus right there. And again, you guys know the deal. You know, if you need any Army surplus stuff, Venture Surplus brings that Army surplus store to your door. We're glad to have them sponsor us. If you want to help support us, just go to their website. All right, just visit. They're going to see a big spike in their visits. You could do it like as soon as you click off of here. Do it. Support me. Go click, and they're going to see, wow, there was a big spike. What happened? All right, but here's what's going to end up happening. You're going to go to their website. You're going to be like, damn, I could actually use that right there. And I'm like, oh, what? And that's only $3, $10 for that. That's usually $30. And you're going to end up buying $40 worth of stuff you didn't really need. And it's going to be awesome. And you can blame me. All right, so we're going to wrap it up tonight. Anything else to add, Emory?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I've been gone for a minute, guys, again. And I know that's just how my life is. So I will, those of you guys who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. And I'll be back here shortly. Next
Tuesday, I have an old assaulter buddy of mine, Eric Hansen, former Green Beret from 5th Group. He owns a knife making. You notice a lot of guys get out, they start making knives, right? Why not, right? Primal skill. He wants to
really?
pimp some of his
people
stuff.
Like
that? Yeah, Emory, Kyle Lamb, all these guys do that.
Mike Lee.
So So we're gonna have Eric on next Tuesday. Might have Steve Holland on also. We'll see. I didn't know if Steve was gonna come tonight or not. Steve has been having a hard time. He was supposed to do a couple videos with us, but he's got some family stuff going on. So we will be back next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. I want to encourage everybody to go to tacticalrifleman.com, check out our training calendar. Some of the best classes of the year are the only time we're going to Texas this year is in March, the last week of March. We're starting on March 20th, and we are doing a marathon of pistol, carbine zero mastery, battle rifle 1, and then aerial gunnery, shooting from a Little Bird helicopter. You don't have to sign up for all of them. You can sign up for any one of them. You're welcome to sign up for all of them. I'm going to be there for all of them. But anyways, we got all those classes, and we're going to stay at the Beaumont Ranch again. $65 to stay in the bunkhouse. Or you can pay, I don't know, I think it was $300 a night for one room near Dallas. When you've got 4 instructors that snore so bad they won't share a room with anybody, $1,200 for one night to house my instructors, or I can put them in the bunkhouse at Beaumont Ranch with you guys, and we'll have a good time, drink a little bit of moonshine, hang out and party, go to dinner together. Again, that is March 20th down in Texas. It's going to be a great, great training. So it is always awesome. It really is.
We're getting I see a bunch of Randy. So Randy's going to be around with us. He was just here yesterday with us.
He will.
Randy's awesome, and he's always going to be all kinds of places.
He only did one video out of the 14, but he's set up to do another one. My son will film him probably in February. But yeah, we got more to go, guys. More to go. All right, so we're going to wrap it up.
I just want to say thank you to you guys, because I see a lot of love here. I can't read this fast and this small, but I do really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the love and support. So
we love having Emory on our team. If you're one of those shallow-minded guys out there that gives Emory shit for being Israeli, first off, you need to count yourself lucky for being born an American, right? Because I've been to 41 countries. I've been to all the shitholes. And he won't say it, but I'll say it. Israel's a shithole. It's not
the South is.
It's not as bad as 30 of the other shitholes. But it's you and I are blessed beyond. You need to thank God every day that you were born as an American in this great country that we have.
100%.
And you notice that's where Emory's at right now.
Yeah, I'm here by choice. I'm here 'cause I love it.
The front of his flag is American. He's not ashamed of his Palestinian lineage.
Hey.
He's not ashamed that he's Israeli, guys. He's not. He's not ashamed. But
Hell no.
I hear you guys bash Emory because he's Israeli.
Cool. Say it to my face, guys.
So what?
You got something like that to say it to my face. Don't
too.
be a pussy and hide behind a
I could care less.
typewriter.
Because you don't get to pick what race you're born. You don't get to pick what family or financial subset you were born into. You don't get to pick what country you were born into, what religion you were born into. Right? There's a lot of Muslims out there that as children were just nodding their heads, knowing that when they turn 13, their dad's going to slam them in the ass or their uncle's going to slam them in the ass, because that's their religion. All right. And if you're Muslim, I don't have any problems with you either. I don't. If you want to worship the devil, that's fine. But if your clerics are telling you the only way you can get into heaven is by killing innocent women and children, you're going to the wrong church. And I encourage you to go somewhere else. I'll tell you what, guys, y'all take care and shoot straight.